Hey, Nathan, you know what they call a podcast in France?
What, man?
Podcast with cheese.
Oh, what a joke. What a reference.
What a joke. What a reference.
Are you talking about this podcast as in what a joke?
Maybe. Welcome to the Classic Movie Banter. You know that show where Nathan and myself, Brenton, we review movies that are 20 years or older.
20 years?
Which makes them classics. We tell them, you guys, whether these films are still, up to scratch or whether they're worth a send away to the tip. You know what I mean? Like, just to
throw them in the bin, put them away. Just like, Brenton, get in the bin. Come on, buddy. Come on, get in that bin.
Yeah, I'm 20 years too late. You know what I mean? Like, just put me away.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, man. That's the show. That's the show, and we throw in some banter in there for some good measure.
We do that.
And that's what we do. That's what we do week to week.
Yeah,
week to week.
It's just our lives, isn't it, Brenton? We just love talking about movies we think you should or should not watch.
I mean, I don't love it. It's just I got nothing else to do. You know what I mean?
It's like Brenton leaves my house and then he just kind of shuts down like a little robot and he just stands on the street for like a week. And then I just I walk outside, I power him up. He's like, and I'm like, come on, Brenton, it's banter time. And he's like, okay. And
I'm back in there. I'm back in the game. But you know what? While I was decommissioned this week, do you know what film I watched, Nathan?
What did you watch, Brenton?
I watched a Tarantino film.
Mate, why would you be watching a Tarantino film this time of year?
Mate, it's just, I'm getting those Once Upon a Time in Hollywood vibes, and I just needed to catch up on some Pulp Fiction, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you, mate. You know what, though? It pisses me off. So, bloody Hollywood comes out this week in America. So, obviously, we got to get them American viewers on board our podcast. But we don't get the movie till 2 weeks later in Australia. It's Mid-August.
Hey, mate, no one cares about Australia. Except Australians.
Yeah, and even then,
you know
it's
what I mean? Even then, everyone's always holidaying in other places. Everyone's always finding a reason to get out of here. Especially those Tasmanians, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just...
well, speaking of getting out of somewhere, mate, I want to tell you about this movie, Pulp Fiction, all right? So...
Mate, I got a question for you. Can you pitch me this film?
Mate, I'll pitch it to you like a bloody baseball player. Okay. Hello.
Ooh,
I'm Quentin Tarantino, and it's the 90s. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Quentin. What a name.
Quentin. What a name indeed. It is a very funny name, isn't it? He's like bloody Quentin Blake, isn't he? So...
hey, mate, you do you, Quentin.
All right.
You do you.
I'm Quentin...
I want to hear this pitch.
I'm Quentin Tarantino. You may know me from such works as True Romance and Reservoir Dogs. Right. Okay, so...
I don't know those, but continue.
So, alright, yeah. So, I'm big in the indie world, I'm the bloody Melbourne of filmmakers, I couldn't be more indie if you tried. And, I've got this idea for a movie. Do you know the concept of postmodernism?
I mean, it varies, so please give me your definition for fun.
All right. Well, imagine a movie that's not in chronological order, right? And it's full of pastiche. It's kind of mocking other films, but also kind of pays homage to other films, So, look, I am Quentin Tarantino, and I've seen every movie man has ever made. Okay. And with this vast knowledge of thousands of films at the back of my head, I want to just make a movie that just is made up of shots from other movies, but with a coherent story stitching it together.
Okay.
So, the plot is about, Jesus, what's this movie about? It's about bloody Sam Jackson and John Travolta. You know that guy from Greece that hasn't been in good movies for over a decade? Yeah. Well, Sam Jackson, we're bringing him on board. To do a bloody film with him, and they're bloody gangsters. They're hitmen for gangsters, and they got to collect some briefcase. But it turns out the briefcase may have something special in it, and then there's Tim Roth, and he's in a cafe, and he wants to rob it. And then there's Luther from Mission Impossible. He's a boss.
Oh yeah.
And he all works for them, and I don't know. There's a scene where they dance. What's the plot of this movie? I don't know. It's okay. Imagine 30 conversations about random ass topics and frame a loose kind of, I don't know, gangster movie around it. That's Can you give me money, Miramax? I'm Quentin Tarantino. How about you just give me the money? You know what?
You have me intrigued, and to be honest, I'm pretty high right now. So
yeah.
You go.
Look, I think we're all pretty high right now.
I feel like that's the conversation that happened with the producers when you watch this film. Because I'm with you. I'm with you in the sense of that's a hard pitch. I don't envy what you just had to do. And I'm not sure.
How do you pitch this? It's like a pulp magazine. Have you read a pulp magazine? It's like
two hitmen walk into a bar. Like that's
yeah.
And
Gordon literally just walked up to the producer's office to like tell a joke, and he ended up weaving it into a movie. He's like,
yeah, pretty much. Like, all right, so let's talk about this thing.
Yeah,
let's get into
about
it because
Pulp Fiction.
I think it's. I respect you, Nathan, and it's because this is like such a hard film to pitch. So let's just peel off that Band-Aid. Let's get in there. Nathan, what do you think of Pulp Fiction? How do you feel about it?
It's a tough movie to describe. It's a tough movie to talk about. This is going to be a bloody tough episode, Brenton. We're putting on our sweatbands. We're running on the treadmills. We're going to work harder than usual because we've both seen this movie before. I've only seen it once before when I was like maybe 15 because when you're a teenager and you say, oh, what's a movie you should watch, everyone says Pulp Fiction, and because half the movie's famous. And when I watched it at that age, I couldn't finish it. I literally stopped like halfway through because I'm like, this is
really?
It was too hard to follow. It was too slow. It was too boring. It was just tedious. I was like, I can't do it. And so I watched it again now as a grown man. I've no longer got me bloody spots on my face. Instead, I've got third-degree burns from the heat of this goddamn movie. And I tell you what, it's pretty good.
Pretty good?
It's pretty good. Obviously, this is an indie film that's heralded as one of the best ever made, and like Tarantino's magnum opus. And like upon revisitation, it's pretty good. But you know what? I don't think it's perfect, Brenton. Where do you sit,
mate? I'm pretty on. You're pretty. That was a pretty good way to summarize this film. I like Tarantino. I do like Tarantino. I like his work.
He's a good mate. He bakes good cookies. Rocks up to the community fair. Well. He's a local member.
What I will say though is that this is by no stretch of the imagination my favorite of Tarantino's films.
No,
by no means. I don't think this is his best film, and I agree with you. I think this film's got issues and it's not perfect, but I think it's good. I think it's good.
There's a lot to like in this movie, isn't there? Like
there is. There's a lot to like.
Did you find it long though?
Oh, it's long. It's long.
It's very long.
It's long.
All right, what's some stuff that you liked in this, Brenton?
Mate, the performances. Let's get into it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, this is
performances are probably one of like performances and the script. I think are both strong. I think in terms of dialogue, in terms of creating dialogue that sounds real, authentic, and is interesting to listen to. Whether that leads to a cohesive plot is another whole argument altogether.
Yeah.
But I have to say, when you watch John Travolta in this film, this is probably his best performance, I'd say.
Oh yeah,
he's ever given.
So much better. You've seen him in Grease, right? Like
yeah.
He's not good, is he, in Grease? Like
He's it's a classic staple, but it's nothing to write home about. He's
not doing Hamlet, like
this is a fine performance. This put Samuel L. Jackson on the map, and you can see why. I think this is some of Bruce Willis's best work. I think
he is really good
in this movie. Yeah.
Although to be honest with you, with the Bruce Willis thing, I feel like I love the Travolta, I love the Sam Jackson stuff. I feel when the movie went to Bruce Willis's storyline, it really grinded to a halt.
Oh, it does. Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. Yeah, I think we're going to agree on this a lot.
Mate, we're just bloody concurring. Look at us shaking hands and like signing resolutions.
Settle down.
All right. Yeah, don't touch me. Like,
I think the supporting cast is also really strong. Like, I think the John Travolta's drug dealer's a great little character in there.
He's great.
I think Steve Buscemi as the waiter at the who has like a few lines in the diner. I think is also like
Uma Thurman is great as Mia.
Yeah, definitely.
She's awesome.
I think.
Actually, no. You know who doesn't do good acting in this movie?
Who?
Tarantino.
Oh, you know what? I can get around it. Like, every time I watch it, I like him more. The first time I watched this, I was like, oh, oof, man, oof. And, like, sure, he's not up to snuff with, like, everyone, I think most people that are in this film. But I think, the way he says coffee in this film is, like, fucking hilarious. And it's, like, it's its own form of entertainment.
What accent is he doing
but
in
on
this
that
movie?
note, his scenes also feature Harvey Keitel, not as Judas.
No.
But as the Wolf, who I think, again, is a great little side character.
Harvey Keitel is great in this. I really love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when you see Tarantino, there's a reason this is the last film that he acted in, Like, actually, no, for a while until he played that famous Australian in Django Unchained, that iconic role. What do you think of his Aussie accent in Django?
Oh, mate, it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious when he's going, "Oh, dynamite! Ah."
Is that dynamite right there? What's that fella doing with all them sticks?
It's like this old like Southern dude, and then you have Tarantino as Australian dude number 1, and then John Jarrett, I'm pretty sure, is like Australian number 2, like is in Wolf Creek. John Jarrett like is like the other guy as well. And you know, there's racial slurs galore. There's dynamite. Yeah, that's probably the
I love
scene
it
in
because
that
like
film
Tarantino's the writer, so like he deliberately thought, oh yeah, no, I can do an Aussie accent. I'm gonna make myself play an Australian, and he cast himself in the role.
Why not? Why not get on set, have some fun on your own film? Why not?
Oh my goodness, like yeah, good on him, and like, and you can tell he's having fun here as well. I feel like everyone's having fun. Like it's one of those movies that you're watching, and it's just so funny because like it's not like haha like slapstick funny. It's just more like the shit they're talking about is just so out of left field. Like you just love it. Like it's a good time. What also helps with these, like a lot of the conversations are tedious, and I feel like you could cut a lot of these conversations out of the movie and it'd be tighter and stronger for it. But like to balance that, you have a lot of iconic stuff that's in this movie. So like people would know this obviously from the Sam Jackson Bible quote, you know, the Ezekiel thing.
Yeah. And
like when these moments happen, like it's outstanding. You're like going, I'm watching famous cinema, and you're just like, this is amazing, and like,
yeah.
You know, but and I love when John Travolta was looking around like he is in the meme. I remember thinking, oh, this is the meme. This is where it came from. Like,
totally. When he walks into that place and he's
looking around like, oh, how amazing is that 1950s diner, by the way?
Oh, incredible! I'd love to go there one day. You know what I mean? It's like one of those restaurants that you're like, oh, mate, I'd go there and I'd have as John Travolta puts it, a fucking good milkshake. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I want to know, like, where did he get the ideas for these conversations? Because they talk about such weird shit in this movie, you know? Like,
I know. But it's all the better for it because, like, I don't know about you guys. I mean, our audience has listened to enough conversations between Nathan and myself to know that some of the shit we talk about is pretty weird. You know what I mean?
They can handle the tediousness. It's like, yeah.
Like, but it's true. It's pretty genius to have two hitmen like open a film that are on their way to fulfill a contract, and they're talking about the differences between France and America, specifically cheeseburgers, and you know what
it's iconic,
like, and then how that exactly and how that works its way into like the scene that follows it. And
that's a funny thing. Like there actually are payoffs to the tedious conversations that I didn't see coming.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But not all of them though. There's still a lot of shit I think you could cut out. Like yeah. But that's probably more spoiler conversation, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're going to just be... I feel like the spoiler section of this film is just going to be us talking about how much we enjoy some of this this conversation. So let's talk about some of the stuff that like we didn't enjoy. Yeah. And I guess like this film is pretty tedious. It's pretty plotty in terms of its rhythm, in terms of its you know, tightness around like scene changes and how long scenes go for. Like there's like again there's scenes in this film that are just so long, and some of them, like you said, you could be removed, and they're enjoyable scenes in their own right. But in the scope of a film, like it's not providing you with, I think, something that you're going to walk away from and necessarily remember those poignant moments of plot. You're just going to remember the characters and the conversations.
No, and that's a big thing. That's a really smart thing you just said, Brenton. One of the rare times. Well done, mate. Because I feel like you nailed so much on the head. The fact that like you don't feel much during the movie. Like you're sitting there going like, oh, this is a cool thing. But you're not like emotionally that invested in the characters. You know what I mean?
No.
Like when characters die, because it's Tarantino and it's like trademark violence, trademark swearing, all that kind of stuff. You know, when shit hits the wall, you don't really feel that bad. There was one thing in the Bruce Willis storyline where I was like, holy shit. But like, yeah. And that part is amazing where I was like, holy fuck. But then like, yeah, I don't recall feeling that much in this.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The music. Oh, by the way, the soundtrack. I feel like I'm going to go back to positives. How amazing is the music in this?
Yeah, the soundtrack. It's exquisite. It's weaved so expertly into the dialogue, into the editing, you know, and it just fits the film perfectly.
It's great.
And on top of that, I think the cinematography is quite good for what it is and what it's
it
serving.
Is.
Like,
yeah, it is nicely shot. I think his cinematography gets better over time. I think as he grows as a filmmaker.
Yeah, I agree, but I think like this services what's happening on screen, so it's good in that sense.
And also, we should say, perfectly directed. Like Tarantino did a great job.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel that Tarantino
well
with the direction though. Like he hasn't got his trademark zooms or like his you know his is like long takes or that kind of stuff. Like they're in there, but I think they're more prevalent in his latter work.
Yeah, and I don't think it really fits the vibe of this. Like, it's not really going for that Western kind of like feel. I think this is like, again, like I think this has got its own feel, and it's nice to see. Like,
it's also very 90s,
it's funny.
isn't it?
It's such a time capsule, this film. You're looking back at literally a man's like one of his first outings as a director, as a writer, and you're like, it's pretty special in that sense because like you just said, Nathan, like you see, I watch this film and I see the potential of what I know of what his work becomes. You know what I mean? And
yeah, you're watching this, you're like, oh, you want to just ruffle Tarantino's hair. You're like, oh, what a good young film that you've made, Mr. Tarantino. Like,
yeah. And, you know, at the same time, like, part of me wishes I was around when this film came out, when I was, like, of the demographic to go see this.
It must have been so game-changing.
To be blown away by that sense. Oh, yeah.
But it's amazing because, like, I feel like films these days have taken, like, let's talk about... I feel like Marvel, especially, has learned a lot from Tarantino, where they just talk about random, funny shit. And, like the Marvel movies have really much adopted that from Tarantino. So I feel like they've adopted it. But this still feels very unique. I don't feel like it feels as derivative now because other films have copied it. Like, Tarantino, most surprisingly, has kind of avoided copying himself as well. Like, he tries to keep it fresh with his work.
I think this is the only film structurally that is like this out of Tarantino's work to this extent. I mean, like there's other films that'll take moments and they'll play with time and setting. That's a
good thing you brought up. Like, do you think this movie needed to be out of chronological order? Because did you find that hard to follow or anything like that?
No, not at all. Some people, I think,
Brenton adjusts his monocle. Not at all, sir. I was there the whole time.
No, but honestly, not at all. Like, I think thank goodness he did, because I think if this was in chronological order, it would not be as interesting.
No, I do love it when, like, halfway through the film, it's very obvious that, like, you really jump out of time and because something happens to someone and then something happens the following scene, you're like, oh, okay, I get that. So
totally,
it's funny. I remember before you and I watched this movie, we were both not that keen. We're like, oh, like I just remember it being so slow as a teenager and just having no clue what the fuck was going on. But like, did it surprise
I don't know.
you? Like,
I was pretty excited to watch this again. I've seen this film before I watched it again. I'd seen this film 3 times.
Oh yeah.
So I watched it once when I was probably around 14, 15, around the same time, and I watched it the whole way through. I didn't stop. I watched it again when I was just before I finished school. So I was 18, and then I watched it again after that when I was halfway through acting school. So when was that? That was when I was probably 20 I'd say. And then I've watched it again now. So, and each time, like, I think...
Does it get better for you with repeat viewings? Like,
not necessarily better. I think I still enjoy the beats of the film, and I still enjoy the characters, and I enjoy the dialogue. But I think this film really hit home for me probably when I watched it that second time.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like first time viewing is going to be tricky, and it's going to be hard. Do you want to kind of rate it? I feel like all the good stuff is going to as well.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I feel like, because like I feel like first time viewing is going to be hard, and like it's a long film, so like you got to really have the stomach for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
If you could do the opening scene, because that's a long scene, then I guess you can do the rest of the movie.
Yeah, mate. I think actually, you know what? There's a point. If you can get through a certain scene, which I'll talk about in spoilers territory, I think you can get through the film.
Is this after Travolta drives Thurman to do something?
It's well after that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Because that for me was kind of like a turning point. Like, okay, no, I'm in this now.
Oh, really? Because I think the first couple acts of the film are easy to get through. I think they're fine.
Is it after the Bruce Willis stuff you think you can do it now, or like...
It's during some of the Bruce Willis stuff that I think if you can get through some of that...
Because the Bruce Willis stuff is so slow, and I remember just wanting to go back to Sam Jackson and wanting to go back to that storyline.
Yeah, totally. And it doesn't for a while.
Oh.
But we'll get into that in spoilers.
And yeah, we should get that to the spoilers. I was going to mention something, but I think it's better to save it for spoilers. So I'm guessing on a Thursday night you'd play Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, I mean, like, why not? It's fun to watch. If someone hasn't seen it, they got to watch it.
Brendan's like, I guess. Like, I'm putting in the DVD player, like, if I have to, like...
well, I mean, like, if you're not going to watch if you're not going to watch Inglourious Bastards, if you're not going to watch Django Unchained, like, watch this. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Yeah, I definitely feel like, Inglourious and Django were better. Also,
watch-
as a
I'd-
Reservoir, I think is better than this.
I'd watch. I'd say it's better, but I'd watch this over Reservoir.
I guess there's more in Pulp Fiction because Reservoir you're in the warehouse the whole time, so it's like it's kind of better that like
Yeah, I feel like there's just more variety, let's say, in this than something like I just said. I think as a film, Reservoir might be better, but I think if you're sitting down to watch something, I'd much rather pop on Pulp Fiction than I would Reservoir Dogs.
yeah. In my opinion, this is definitely better than Jackie, better than the Kill Bills, better than Death Proof.
Oh, it's better than Kill Bills. But again, like it's this thing of like it's funny when you watch films like.
It is funny when you watch films, like.
But it's interesting when what I just said in terms of like, yeah, Reservoir's probably better, but I'd rather watch Pulp. Pulp's definitely better than Kill Bills, but I'd rather watch the Kill Bills than watch Pulp
That's so
Fiction. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it's interesting. We should do like a top 7 one day and just do like the order in which you should watch Tarantino's top 7 films. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Because he's done 9 films, so it's like, you know, it's this,
Yeah.
then that, then this, then that. What would it be like if in his 10th film he like revealed that they're all a shared universe and that was his final film? Like he just bloody crossed it all over.
I'm pretty sure they are shared universe. Most of
And
them.
like Sam Jackson is like, he has to play like 8 different roles in the one movie. Like,
I'm pretty sure there's little nods to each of them in all the,
Oh, really?
in all the films. Like there's certain relationships
I never
between
knew that.
characters that go across time. Yeah, if you look it up, like I'm pretty sure there's a relation to Vincent Vega and one of the characters. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's what's his name from
like Mr.
Reservoir
Pink or
Dogs.
something
He's
like
in
that.
the Hateful. No, Reservoir Dogs. The character in Reservoir Dogs played by what's his name? Shit. Name actors in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh,
Nathan. Go.
jeez. Tim Roth, Quentin Tarantino.
No. The dude that cuts off the ear.
Yeah. Fuck, I forget his name. Listeners are
Right.
screaming at us.
Well,
Well, anyway, that bloke,
character-
yeah.
That character in Reservoir Dogs, I'm pretty sure, is like the brother or something of Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, there you go.
Or like there's like they share like a name or something. Like there's little nods to things like throughout, and like Tarantino's always like, oh yeah, like that's like that's a thing. So I think it's kind of fun in that sense. Like I'm pretty sure most of them are connected in one way or another, or there's at least homages or nods to the other films. Anyway, mate, let's rip off.
Anyway,
the band-
wait. Thumbs up? Are you giving it a thumbs up?
Oh yeah, I'll give it a thumbs up.
And it's like,
definitely.
I've been holding up my hand for 5 minutes. It's like, every time Brad
sure. Are you
says
gonna
thumbs
get
up, he just like sticks it up to the roof. He's like, woo!
Stick it up my nose. No.
Whoa, here we go.
Yeah,
I'll
shit.
give it the thumbs
Nathan,
up, I think. Yeah, no, I'll give it a thumbs up too. But just, like, barely just. I don't think as a teenager, I think maybe, wait till you're an adult to watch this.
Nah, I think it's fun watching it as a teenager to a certain
Yeah, you
extent.
would bloody say that, wouldn't you?
I hear you. I enjoyed watching this at 15 or whatever I watched.
I think
it
it's
at.
tricky. I think it's. I know people who aren't cinephiles who watch Pulp Fiction and they can't.
Totally.
Like you find it really difficult. Like plot wise, they're just not invested. They find it funny and there's interesting scenes, but it does get slow. So you need to walk into this knowing it does get slow. So
Here's a quick question: would you rather watch Pulp Fiction? We're going down this track again.
Here we go.
Would you rather watch Pulp Fiction or The Hateful Eight?
ooh, Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight. Fucking hell! The more I think about Hateful Eight, the more I dislike it.
See, I'm the opposite. The more I think about it, the more I like it. Yeah.
Wow, Brenton.
I would rather pop on The Hateful Eight than Pulp Fiction.
Shame on you, Brenton.
I know.
Get off your high horse. Get the horse out of the house.
Mate, I've been doing this too long. I think I need to quit the podcast. I think I've lost my touch with reality. You know what I'm saying? See you guys. Bye. It's been a wild ride. Signing off.
Oh no! Do you want to get one of the SWAT team are shaking their heads? They don't want to go on the show. I guess. Brenton, come back. Brenton,
yeah.
come back. You can. Stay.
Shit. Sorry, guys. Yeah, they won't let me leave. Shit. So let's talk about spoilers. Spoiling the movie Pulp Fiction.
Mate, this whole movie is a spoiler. I tell you what. Like, it's funny. Like,
Yeah, mate.
plot wise, I don't feel like you can spoil that much. Like the way.
Yeah.
It
The
all
only thing
happens.
I'd say is that like Vincent Vega like gets fucking
Dude, he
riddled with
fucking
bullets.
gets blasted to hell. It's great.
Yeah.
Because I think I
It's great,
stopped
yeah.
watching it beforehand as a child, so that was like I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, man, that happens, and it's very sudden. It's one of those deaths. It's almost like you haven't seen The Departed, have you?
No, I have seen The Departed. Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, good. It's like DiCaprio's death in The Departed.
Yeah,
It's something
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so sudden. That's just like, and it's just that moment, and it's of course like because he comes out of the
He's just taking a
bath.
shit, and like Bruce Willis finds the gun. It's like, oh.
Pretty sure there's Pop Tarts or something. Like, what's in the toaster? I can't
Yeah,
remember. Is it
I love
toast?
that he's like sneaking into this house and he's so cautious and he like finally walks up to the apartment. He knows the risks, and then while he's there, he finds the watch and he's like, oh, you know what? Let's just have some food. Like, fuck it. Like,
Dude, I love it. I love that because it's so real. Like, of course, when you get home, like, there's this. Okay, put it this way: there's times when you get home that you should be doing something that's really important, but you choose not to do it,
true.
and instead decide to have a fucking like snack that's shit for you, and you're just like, yeah, man, living the life. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like I relate to that so much, man.
It's like that's why I've told you to stop eating during the podcast, Brenton. Oh,
guys, I've got a serious fucking problem.
It's like, yeah, I know. It's just like, Brenton, stop eating. I don't know how you're trying to still sound articulate while you got food in your mouth. Like, but you know what? So like, that's a great moment in the Bruce Willis story. I didn't really get around his relationship that much, Bruce Willis. Like, I didn't really care for him and his girlfriend that much. Like, I didn't really rate their scenes. But what I did rate, did you like the girlfriend?
Like I mean, like she's probably the weakest character in the film.
Yeah, because sadly she just doesn't have much to do besides be Bruce Willis's girlfriend. So, yeah, I like yeah, I didn't really get around. Oh, you see his dick at one point. I remember that because like he's having a shower with her. Well, not with her. He's having like a shower and he's getting changed. And Tarantino's very clever with the camera. Like he has like the towel rack trying to hide his dick. And then at one point, like he goes to sit down, you just see it flop out. Like it's kind of weird that Bruce Willis keeps on going yippee-ki-yay when he steps out of the room. Like.
Hey, man! Like we're here to focus on the film. Nathan.
I'm so sorry.
I
was distracted by Bruce Willis's dick. Okay, speaking of Bruce Willis and things that were great in this movie, how fucking incredible is the cameo from Christopher motherfucking Walken?
Hey, man, that's a great monologue. That's a killer monologue.
That's an amazing monologue. I was so into the movie by that point.
Yeah, like the way he like throws away the line, like stick it. He kept it up his ass. Like it's just it's golden.
I used with 5 years, your dad, and I stick it up his ass.
I kept this watch out my ass for like what is it like 4 years or something like.
And he says it so like, nonchalantly as well to this child, like
exactly. It's great. It's so golden, and then the way he just goes, and now I give it to you. Like it's just.
And the kid is
golden.
just like,
but so like when I first watched this movie, I remember I was watching it and I was like, why is this in the movie? Like it's great, but why is it in the movie? But it's that impetus to provide to Bruce Willis to like go back
to the apartment, yeah, because you're thinking, why the fuck are you like? In hindsight, you get respect, you get appreciative of it, but like during it, I do. As much as I love Christopher Walken, I was like, come on, I was like, why is this in the movie? Like, do you wish Christopher Walken was more in this movie?
No, I think it's perfect. I'm glad it doesn't spoil it. I'm glad it's just like a little scene. It's a little thing. He does his job perfectly, and then he fucks out of there. Like it's just great. It
is pretty good. What about Tim Roth stuff? What did you think about that whole tying it all together at Tim Roth?
Oh, it's great. I think it's great. I think like you said, like that opening scene's pretty electric when they
his
talk
girlfriend
about
is fucking insane, isn't she?
Oh, she's nuts. Like she's absolutely nuts.
She's actually crazy. Like
like, but it's great. Like the whole scene where she's holding Samuel L. Jackson at gunpoint and he's got a gun on her, and then Travolta steps out of the bathroom and she literally has like a breakdown, like because she's got the two guns pointed at her, and like she's like a baby up there. It's fantastic. That whole robbery scene, actually, like the scene at the start and the scene at the end, are just great.
It's great. There's actual tension. It's probably the most tension in the movie. Like,
yeah, definitely. Like, apart from probably the scene with the Bible stuff. Like, obviously, the inevitability of when those two hitmen
it is a long passage, isn't it?
Yeah, but like at the same time, like. When Samuel L. Jackson walks in there and he's talking about the burgers and whatnot, and the guy says, "Oh, we didn't want to fuck your boss over or whatever," and he just shoots the guy that's like lying on the couch. Like, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I break your concentration?" Like that shit's great. Like there's a lot of tension, I think, in that as well, and you know what's gonna happen. You know
they're all dead. It's like,
and you kind of want it to happen too in a sick way. You're like, "Oh, here we go." Like it's on now. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's so good. I love that Travolta's just like hanging out, like checking out the suitcase, just like standing about, just looking really content. And he's just like, and he's like, "Do you speak English and what?" And like Samuel Jackson's like trying to recommend burger recipes and that kind of shit. Like, it's just perfect, isn't it?
I got to tell a little story here.
Oh, I love stories, Brenton.
I was in Adelaide a few months back, and I went to this burger place, and I kid you not, they had. Now I know that this is like a burger chain, like in the movie and whatnot.
Yeah.
They had a big Kahuna burger. They also had a royale with cheese. It was like all these burger names that I mentioned like in this scene in Pulp Fiction. I kid you not, I went back there like a few times during that week. so I could try every single. Like I was a
Jesus.
little. I went back and I tried each of these fucking burgers just because I wanted to try it. Guess which one was the best?
Royale with cheese.
Mate, you landed it on the head.
Ah,
That was the
I
best
love
burger
it.
by far.
I've actually had. I remember I was in Paris a couple of years back, and I went to like the local Macca's to see if that was the case, and it wasn't. They bloody call it cheeseburger. I've been to Macca's in France, and they don't do it.
Hey Nathan, this was made in the 90s.
Yeah. Do you reckon Macca's? I tried to look this up in the research. Do you reckon Macca's deliberately changed it, like, because
Probably.
they had all
Well, I
these
wouldn't
fuckers just rock up asking for it, like.
Mate, I wouldn't put it past them. Like it would kind of make sense, I guess. Like, you know, Macca's doesn't want to associate themselves with this film. I don't know. But then, you know,
Are you kidding? I'd love to be associated with it. Like, that'd be great
So
as a
would I,
brand.
but I
Like,
don't know.
you know what I love about the restaurant stuff as well? I love it when they talk to Steve Buscemi and they're like, "How would you like your steak?" And he offers the option, "Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell."
Yeah, man.
I'm
it's
so
great.
using that. Like, it's so Tarantino, and maybe that's an issue. Maybe I feel like a lot of the characters do kind of sound the same. Like, you can kind of hear Tarantino's writing voice throughout all of it.
Oh, I don't know about that, man.
Like, people in real life
I don't
don't
know if
talk
I
the way
agree with
these
that.
characters talk in the film, right?
I don't know if I agree with you there, man.
Ooh. We're no longer agreeing anymore, Brenton.
No, because I feel like the way that these characters are written, and especially the way that obviously they're performed and brought to life, these characters seem like very individual in the way they approach certain situations that occur in this film. And I feel like that each of them has a very specific voice and a very specific opinion. But your point on saying that no one talks like this in real life, I don't know if I agree with that either, in the sense of like, we as people, we always talk about random shit to cover like as subtext for
We
what's
do,
really
actually,
going on.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you and I can talk about, you know,
Oh, this whole podcast
we-
is random
we-
shit, if anything else. Like,
exactly. But if we were going to establish us two as characters and say like a scene, I would probably sit there as a writer and go, well, what's something that would really like, you know, hammer it home? And I feel like you just have a scene where the two of us are talking about Willem Dafoe and the original Spider-Man trilogy, and we'd just be like going off. You know what I mean?
it
Like,
would be like, mate, that Goblin glider, what an iconic piece of weaponry. Like, God, the military, they'll want to have contracts, they'll want to have all their soldiers on Goblin gliders.
hey, you know what? Norman Osborn, he just doesn't want to be out. Like, he's fully justified in every decision he makes in that film. You know what
He
I'm
really
saying?
is. He's a smart. I actually never thought about that before. Like, what the hell was going to happen if that military contract did happen in the movie? And what? They're going to have an army of people on Goblin gliders. Is that what's going to happen? Like,
Hey man, it's it's gonna take the U.S. Army by storm. You got the
Jeez.
scope of this operation is just through the
the Americans just like go off to like battle ISIS and they're on like bloody like gliders. Like,
fuck. And not only that, like everyone's in like fucking like lycra green like metallic armor.
They've got the
They
stupid
look like
helmet
Power
on.
Rangers. And they've got like a stupid demonic like goblin helmet, and they're all like, "Woo, let's go, boys!"
jeez, and like,
America,
and
yeah.
the terrorists are like, why are they all dressed like goblins? Like, we're very confused. Like, yeah.
And they glide in and throw pumpkins at them. They're like, "Fuck, just stop it!" Like,
They're like, guys, like, could you imagine? That'd be great. Like, what happened to Damascus? And they're like, oh, it was the goblins. Like,
it was the goblins. Oh man, that's hilarious. Hey, can we talk about like on the back of that diner scene? Let's talk about the dance,
oh my god, what an iconic
twist.
dance! Like,
mate. It's so good too because the shoes are off. They go up there. The
I
music
love they
starts.
take off their shoes. Bless them.
There's nothing like this.
There's no context to it, like why they're doing it. Like,
It's like there's no like he's just there to have show her a good night,
Yeah.
and so like he goes up. She wants to do the dance thing. He gets up there, and it's the most nonchalant dancing. Like it's not even that good. It's
they
not
have
that
no
flashy.
facial expressions on
But
them.
man, it's so good. Like
Ah.
it's such a good scene.
Okay, if you had to do one of those two dances, like Travolta or Thurman at a club, which one would you do?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Mm.
I'd probably go with Travolta.
I was
going
gonna
to
say him too.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like but though that's a hard choice. Like I said,
Because I love. Have you seen Tarantino? His explanation for why Thurman's dancing like that.
I haven't.
Oh,
what's the
Tarantino?
explanation?
He was on Graham Norton. He tells this great story where he got inspired by the Aristocats, and there's like, and so there's a scene.
no idea.
There's a scene in Disney's Aristocats where all the cats are dancing, and like a cat is like doing that kind of like pause action like that Uma Thurman's doing.
Well, as soon as you said that, dude, as soon as you said that reference, I knew exactly the scene in the Aristocats that he was talking about.
And that's it.
That is incredible.
I know.
That's incredible.
And it's great. And like, I love that they do it. I love that they win. Like I love.
Yeah. That's the other thing. That's the most important takeaway from that scene for me, is that when you go into the next scene, because I think it does like
you couldn't have a
fade to
further
black.
tone twist, could you? It's
Yeah, exactly. Fade to black, and then we go into the start of the next scene, and we see that trophy. We see them walk into their house, and you know what's on at that stage. Like it's pretty great. Like it's such, it's storytelling at its finest. It's showing, not telling.
I love that scene where they have to where he bloody crashes the car. I can't believe he crashes the car. What a waste of a car. But he goes to his drug dealer's house, who looks like a discount Topher Grace, and he's just like, "Hey man, here's the adrenaline," and it's in this giant fuck off needle.
Dude, yeah, that whole scene is fantastic.
It's amazing.
That's the other scene. That's the other scene I think that has a lot of tension in it. Like in the sense of that everyone's there, everyone's freaking the fuck out. No one really knows what they're doing. They just have this needle. And the way he says, you've got to break the breastbone and jab it.
Yeah.
He does this jabbing motion. It's hilarious and terrifying at the same time.
Because none of them have any experience, and Tarantino and Travolta really doesn't want to do it, but neither does the other guy. And I love that Uma Thurman's dying on the floor, and there's a whole 2 minutes dedicated to the drug dealer talking to his sister or his girlfriend or whoever she is, and they're arguing in the kitchen as they're trying to get shit ready.
Dude, it's brilliant.
It's so good.
It's so good.
The point of this movie that I was holy fuck, where I was Jesus, this is intense, that I didn't see coming, was the bloody gun store sequence.
Holy shit.
What the fuck is this movie? Why did Tarantino put this in? Does it feel out of place at all?
No, it's not.
It feels like it's an escalation of a whole new type, when it happens.
Totally. But
it raises so many questions.
I think it's kind of brilliant. What a choice, you know what I mean? And as an audience member, you're not expecting that at all.
No,
for that to be the outcome. That whole scene in the basement.
Because bloody Marcellus Wallace and bloody Bruce Willis both wake up, and they're in some weird ass sex dungeon in the gun store, and they're all tied up, and then the police officer comes, and then you realize this is getting really fucking weird. And doesn't you think they're gonna do some gay shit to them? They whip out this gimpy slave that they have. What?
It's full on.
What's going on? That's the most fucked up thing I think I've ever seen in cinema.
You really?
Oh, I mean, King Kong's from 1932 was pretty fucked up, but that messed up face. It's pretty perverted, I must say.
Yeah, the scene when they're what did they say? I think he says fetch me the gimp or something, and you're just what?
You're what? And you think you know what's coming, but then when he actually rocks up in full leather, you're jeez, God.
Yeah, my jaw dropped in that moment. I remember when I first watched the film and he said that line, and it's this long take. It's a long take where it's on Marcellus Wallace and Bruce Willis, and the person goes behind them, and it's there's a crate behind them in the other room, and you just see the crate open and the guy get out, and then he comes back in, and you're just what the fuck is going on?
And it's great because both of the gangsters are tied up, and you can see Bruce Willis react to the guy when the gimp walks in. If you just look at their eyes, you can see they're in real life. They're not even acting. They're just what the fuck is going on?
Dude, so then Bruce Willis escapes and he heads up to the top, and then there's the most Tarantino thing I've ever seen.
I love this
Bruce
bit.
Willis goes through, he gets the chainsaw, he goes through everything, all these weapons, all these options the hammer, and then he picks up that fucking samurai sword.
He picks up a fucking katana.
And it just it's great. And then he goes back down.
I love that he takes the time to choose the weapons. Oh.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And you can hear at the same time, you hear all the shit that's happening in the basement.
Yeah, as Marcellus Wallace is being raped by the guy while the bloody cop is jerking off to it.
It's pretty fucked up. Yeah. And then he slices one of them, and then the other guy, Marcellus Wallace, gets his revenge at the same time, and then that kind of moment's over, and then they're all cool because Bruce Willis saved him, and then he gets on his motorbike and gets the fuck out of town.
Oh, I love that when Bruce Willis kills the guys, and he's to Marcellus, he's "Oh, are you okay?" And Marcellus Wallace is "No, man, I'm pretty fucking far from okay." He just got anally raped, and Oh, and he's just standing there like...
Hey, mate, that leads us... I think this part happens afterwards. Because then we cut back to the hitman and we have this whole section where Samuel L. Jackson is going through that he's had a divine intervention and he's obviously not meant to do anymore. So
I think he's the only character who actually has a character arc in this movie, Sam Jackson.
Yeah. Totally. You could argue maybe Bruce Willis, but Samuel L. Jackson... Well, for me, I think it links back to... Because I think... Thematically, I think there's a reason for that. I think because Samuel L. Jackson is kind of the main character in a way, of this whole fucked up story. And he's the hero of this. He's the only one that says enough's enough and gets the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? Apart from Bruce Willis does as well, but that's what I mean. So they're probably the two that you're all right. But Samuel L. Jackson has this, he has this moment. He's going to quit where he is in life and he's going to move on. And they're in the car, and John Travolta's not having a bar of it.
Yeah.
And, obviously, this kind of works out in Samuel L. Jackson's favor because he continues. John Travolta continues, and look what happens to him. But at the same time, he looks into the back of the car and he shoots that.
Oh my god,
Marvin! I shot Marvin in the face. Holy fuck!
I love it. He talks about it the same way one would talk about spilling some food in the car.
I know, right? I shot Marvin in the face.
He was like, oh.
You what? Why the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, motherfucker, what you doing, motherfucker? What you shooting in this car for?
It's I know it was an accident. And it's that whole scene, that shot where he actually shoots him in the face and he looks into the back and he's kind of taking the piss out of Samuel L. Jackson and the gun goes off. Dude, again, it's one of those moments that you're what the fuck? This whole scene that you think's going in one direction literally cuts. Yeah, it slices it in half and we're set into another direction, which is just enthralling to watch. And then obviously we go into that section with the wolf trying to clean the car, trying to get out of the situation, which again is a long segment, but it's pretty entertaining.
I do like it. I love it when Sam Jackson finally snaps. He's like, wait a minute, why am I cleaning up the brains? He's like, fuck you, you get back here. And Travolta's like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking fantastic. And then obviously when they're then given their new clothes, they're in those shitty boxer shorts and the
I love it.
The two big t-shirts and oh man, it's great. And so and then instead of getting the fuck home and getting going shit, they go and have breakfast in that one diner that gets
I loved it. As soon as they said let's go get a bite, I knew immediately what was going to happen, and I knew we were going to go back to the diner. And I was so happy for it. And I love that they met.
Dude, that last scene is fantastic.
Sam Jackson should have gotten an Oscar for that last scene because
definitely.
He is incredible. I've never seen Sam Jackson that good before. He's outstanding.
Oh, he's amazing in this film. It's probably his best performance.
Probably is his best work. Which is a shame he doesn't do more work like that because he's so good when he does that kind of stuff.
He's absolutely brilliant, and that whole scene is just it's pretty incredible. And then for the film to end the way it does, it's great.
It's amazing. Well, Brenton, should we talk about what stills this movie?
What stills this movie?
What does still this movie?
Nathan, I absolutely love you've chosen this because this links back to the last scene in the film where Honey Bunny and I'm not even sure what Tim Roth's character's called. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
we'll call him Tim
they rob the place. they get the garbage bag and they get everyone to put their wallets in the bag. And there's a point in the film that Samuel L. Jackson says, get my wallet out of there. And he says, which one is it? He says, it's the one that's got bad motherfucker written on it.
And that alone is a good joke. But then the camera, and what the still is that the camera fills up the frame with an actual close-up of the wallet.
Which has inscribed on it, bad motherfucker. It's just... Because, again, I'm with you. I think he's joking at that point when he says that line. It's hey, dude, just get the fucking wallet out. And then he pulls it out, and it's literally got that on it. And you're just that is the most perfect thing ever. So, yeah, that's what stills this movie.
That does still
Obviously,
this movie.
You can...
Would you have that wallet, Brenton? If I gave you that wallet, would you use it?
I'm not sure if I'd use it.
Oh, go on. Come on. It'd be fun.
It'd have a special place in my room.
Oh, mate, go on.
It'd be on my...
You imagine going to a cafe, you get a bloody coffee, and you whip that shit out to pay. People will notice, and they will love you for it.
I'm sure they will. Actually, you know what? I might give it a go.
Hey.
Before our audio listeners, just letting you know that still is currently on our YouTube page. If you go to our thumbnail, you can see it
you
there.
can always see all the stills for all the episodes.
So Nathan, now that we've discussed that, shall we discuss how did they make this making movie magic? Yeah.
How did they make this, Brenton? I'm asking you at gunpoint right now. How do they make it? How do they make it?
Nathan, I've got some stuff to say.
All right, say
This
it.
movie cost only $8 million to make. $8 million.
Crikey. It does kind of show. I feel like nothing in this was too expensive.
Yeah, totally. But $5 million of that went to pay the actors and the actors' salaries.
I mean, it is pretty well cast. So.
Yeah, but then it went on to gross over $200 million at the box office. Well done.
That's
Well
amazing.
done.
Well, did this come out before or after Die Hard?
Ooh.
I want to say
You
before.
want to know? It was after. It was after. Die Hard
really?
was the late 80s, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe it was. I don't know. Yeah. So Bruce Willis
I
would have
can't
had
remember.
big star power. Like, yeah, 90s Bruce Willis would have had crazy star power.
Yeah.
You know what I also
Yeah, man.
just realized? Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis were both starred in Unbreakable not long after this.
Yeah, man.
That's so funny. It'd be kind of funny.
And they don't have a scene. They don't have a scene together.
in this movie, Pulp Fiction. No, they don't, which is
No,
a
no.
shame.
Actually, no. I take that back. They might, because there's a scene in the bar where they go to meet Marcellus Wallace after they've done that first job, and I'm pretty sure Bruce.
Oh
Willis is
yeah,
in
yeah,
the bar.
yeah.
So yeah,
Whereas,
but
like, you know,
no, they don't have dialogue together. No.
I love it when Marcellus was like, you know, when all this shit's over, you're gonna find someone, like, and like Al
Yeah,
Jean's
man.
like playing in the background, like, I'm in love with you. It's like, oh, it's great, man. I love the bloody budget of this movie. Tell you what, you know, this movie has a Deliverance connection.
What do you mean?
It's connected to the movie Deliverance because according to the Daily Beast, there's 3 psycho hillbillies that torture Butch and in the basement, and they're a reference to the film Deliverance.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Very, very similar moment.
Yeah.
Just as horrifying.
Mm.
Nathan, I've got a little fact here. Do you know the word fuck is used 265 times in this film?
Jeez, there you go. That's a lot. I think I remember looking this up because I wanted to see like who's like had the most fucks in the movie before. I know Scorsese's guilty of it. Like I think Wall Street was pretty.
I think Wall Street takes the cake now. Yeah.
I know.
I'm
I
not
think
sure
there's
if
a
that still
documentary
stands,
called "Fuck" that I think has the most. But like, after that, I think like the whole like 20 of the top whatever is like just Scorsese. Like,
Nathan, any more facts, mate?
oh yeah, you know that Robert Rodriguez directed parts of this film?
What?
Yeah. So when Tarantino is on screen, Robert Rodriguez was directing those scenes.
Jesus Christ. That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. I never knew
Yeah,
it.
neither did I.
You know, also that apart from Uma Thurman in this movie, some other potential casting options was going to include Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, which would have been amazing seeing Elaine as Bloody
Wow.
Mia.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Yeah. And I can see it working.
Yeah.
Who else? Sorry.
Also, Joan Cusack
Right.
was considered.
Right.
She would have done a good job. Also, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Interesting.
Michelle Pfeiffer. It's funny because she was initially Tarantino's favorite to play the part before.
I mean,
Uma
like
Thurman
it would
audition.
work. It would definitely work. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think Michelle Pfeiffer would have done a great job. Yeah.
Interesting.
Have you seen her in bloody Scarface?
I have. Yes, that is
Oh, she's so good in that.
one of her best. Definitely.
One of her best. You know also that the bloody Malibu that belonged to Vincent Vega was stolen after the shoot?
By what?
Yeah, the car was stolen. So
Jesus.
so the car that John Travolta drives, which in real life belongs to Quentin Tarantino. So Tarantino must have thought to himself, I'm gonna put my car in the movie so everyone can see I have a dope car. But yeah, it was stolen after the film's release, and it wasn't found for nearly 20 years.
Jesus. Wow.
So it wasn't until like bloody 2014 that 2 cops pulled over a pair of kids and recognized the number in Oakland. So they returned Tarantino's car.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah.
So Nathan, here's another one for you. Did you know?
Let me drop another sick beat on
Do you
you,
know
boy.
that Bruce Willis only worked on this film for 18 days?
Wow.
And
That's a pretty intense
He's
shoot.
a pretty sizable part in this film as well.
Yeah. I think this wouldn't have been hard to shoot. Like, all the stories we have so far, it's not actually about the filming itself, because I feel like, you know, it's set in LA, like, it's set in the present day in LA for when they would have made it, so, like, it's not, like, the set design doesn't have to be that crazy, you know, like, it would have been, like, apart from maybe the diner, I feel like the diner would have been crazy to put together, but, yeah. I don't think this would have been hard.
Yeah. Nathan, any other facts for yourself?
One last fact from me. So, this film actually has had a lot of influence. So, don't worry about how they made it. But this movie has been known as a watershed moment for actors going back and forth between blockbuster films and small indie
Right.
films. So, like before Pulp Fiction, obviously, like, you know, actors did indie films and blockbusters, but this really set a trend of like A-list actors taking a break to do an indie project between their big studio films.
Right.
And it kind of, and like, remember, like this film is credited to exploding like the indie industry. It's like the film that like made people flock to independent cinema to watch independent cinema that wasn't backed by a major studio. So like this kind of started a trend where actors really like made an effort to sign up for like passion projects.
You can see why, you can see why, like
yeah,
if there'd been nothing like that before, like you can, like, because there's, I don't know, there's something about that. I think there's something exciting about being a part of like a film that is that's about, the screenplay, that's about the performances, that's about the characters, like as an actor, I can see why that's so appealing.
It's about story and character.
Yeah. Do you know Uma Thurman originally turned down the role of Mia Wallace? And so Quentin Tarantino was...
Michelle Pfeiffer's like, I'm so close.
Quentin Tarantino was so desperate to have her as Mia, he ended up reading her the script over the phone, finally convincing her to take on the role.
Really? I love that he wouldn't just like fax it to her. He's like, no, let me do the lines, and then you do the lines.
That's Tarantino through and through. Hey man, well...
Could you imagine, like, you were on the phone and Quentin Tarantino is reading you his script for Pulp Fiction? Like, that is legendary.
That happened. Hey, Nathan.
Hey.
Can we look at this film's poster?
Let's look at it, buddy. Now, I must say, we've had a good string of posters so far, save for bloody James Bond. And I tell you what, this is an iconic poster.
This is an iconic poster. Like, what else is there to say about this? This is...
Also, like, this is the poster. Every fucker alive in university or high school has this poster in like, somewhere. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Especially uni. Every bloody college room I went to had bloody Pulp Fiction. Oh... But it's pretty brilliant,
isn't it? It's pretty
isn't
great. I don't know what else really to say about it. It's like, yep, nailed it. Bloody nailed it.
I feel like it needs that iguana from James Bond. That's the one thing I add to it.
It's,
and you know what? It wouldn't be out of place.
You know what? No, instead of Uma Thurman, there's just the iguana lying there with like a cigarette in its hand. Like, just...
It's just holding it down. But it's wearing the same wig as Uma Thurman.
Oh my god, that's terrifying.
I really hope our listeners like haven't listened to our James Bond episode, because that means like this is even funnier. They're like, what the fuck is they talking about with an iguana? Go listen to last week's Bond, everyone. It's a fun time.
Hey Nathan, Pulp Fiction
title talk. Yeah, was there Pulp Fiction in Pulp Fiction? I don't think so, mate.
No, but it's a good title.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what the hell they would have called this besides Pulp Fiction. I know, right? Because like it literally is Pulp Fiction.
Exactly. Like I don't know what else you call this. Like really, like what? That's what I mean. It's pretty much the perfect title, perfect poster. Like what a roll! It's on a roll.
Yeah, it is pretty good, and like it is like I don't think you could name anything better.
So that being said, Nathan, shall we pass the power to the people? Let's pass it to the people, the power.
We've been given the power to the people.
Nathan, on Rotten Tomatoes, Pulp Fiction currently stands at 92%. 92%, with an audience score of 96%.
Fresh.
Oof.
People bloody love this movie, including David Stratton, iconic Australian movie reviewer David Stratton from At the Movies. He wrote a pacey, punchy, and hilarious at times. It's quite a movie.
But on the other end,
it is very much movie,
Margaret,
isn't it?
Pomeranz from At the Movies Australia as well. Margaret.
Margaret.
She says,
from At the Movies.
Looking forward to this like you wouldn't believe, but it all goes on for so long and it's not terribly witty. Interesting.
David and Margaret not agreeing on a movie. Oh, what? The tables have turned. For people who aren't Australian listening to this, like, David and Margaret are the two most famous movie reviewers in the country, and they are iconic. Look at YouTube videos of At the Movies. They're fantastic. Like, look, like, do you think... Okay, looking at David first. This is quite a movie. Do you think this would work better as maybe like a 4-episode miniseries? Would you like to see a miniseries reinterpretation of this? Like, fleshed out, like... No? What about Margaret? Do you agree with her that is too long? Like.
I mean, like, I hate saying shit like this because, like, I don't know. There's obviously reasons that it's kept in. I don't know what I would cut at the moment, off the top of my head. Really, it's hard.
I feel like I don't know. A lot of the early Bruce Willis stuff I'd probably cut out, like with the girlfriend.
I feel like that's
the
all
boxing
like
ring, and where he's escaping it as well, where he has to like run out of the boxing place, like.
But
by the way, have you ever given a foot massage, Brenton?
Yes, I have.
Is it that sensual? Like,
I don't know if it's sensual. it feels good. But
Yeah,
it's
it
not,
feels good,
it's-
but I don't think I'd ever try and foot massage to be flirtatious with someone. Like, I'm like, there's nothing sexy about feet. Like,
Hey, like they say in the film, it must be a pretty fucking good foot massage. You know what I mean?
yeah. As good
Hey,
as
but
Kenneth Turin's.
I don't know, from Los Angeles Times. The result, especially in the scenes involving Bruce Willis as a nervy boxer, can be long patches of dialogue that must have tickled Tarantino but will not necessarily resonate for anyone else. What's interesting with that is that Bruce Willis, for me, has like his scenes involve like the least like dialogue heavy scenes in the film.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, and also he's a very stoic man, so like he does a lot through like his physical performance. So yeah, I agree. I don't know, like I don't obviously everyone adores these lines, and like there's so many famous lines from it. I don't think it is like just Tarantino joking off to himself, but I do understand where like you do. Like, it is very centered on his kind of style of language, and you got to, like, I can't imagine, like, you know, this, you'd have to be well-versed in Tarantino. I don't think this should be the first Tarantino film that you watch.
Yeah.
I feel like you should be used to him by the time you approach something like this. What do you reckon should be the first one if you want to get into Quentin Tarantino?
I think Pulp Fiction's pretty perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, go Django. Come on, Django's got more mainstream appeal. If you want to see
No. I wouldn't watch Django first. I wouldn't watch any of his historical ones first. No.
Wow. Okay, fine. Difference of opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I'd watch this over that, or even Reservoir Dogs over for your first Tarantino.
Reservoir's pretty good, isn't it? Have you seen all of them, or is there still ones you haven't seen of Tarantino?
Grindhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shouldn't. It's not that exciting. Sorry, Grindhouse. Gary Ricky from the Philadelphia Inquirer says, whatever you call it, razzmatazz, pizzazz, or sizzle, Pulp Fiction's got it. Enough style for a dozen movies, and truth be told, enough story for 5. It is true, there is a lot of plot on this. Do you kind of wish more filmmakers did what Tarantino did? Like, there were more wild kind of, you know, shots in movies and that kind of stuff?
Sure. Definitely, I yearn for it. Yeah, definitely. Like, I wish.
Oh, I close my eyes and dream.
Like, honestly, I wish like something from the MCU was shot like this. Like, I wish something like
it'd be great. That's why I'm so keen for like Tarantino to do a Star Trek project to see what like a filmmaker of his caliber would be like doing a franchise movie.
Be interesting, but I don't think he'd ever do it. Why the fuck would he do that? Like,
really? Have you not? You've heard that news for how he wants to make a Star Trek movie.
I mean, like, yeah, but you know, like, I think there's a lot of bullshit that comes along with doing a franchise film that I just don't think he'd go along with. So
yeah, I know. I feel like who owns Star Trek? Is it Universal or Paramount? One of them. But I feel like they would give him enough freedom. Like
maybe depends. Like obviously, you know, you want Tarantino directing for you. Like I think he would give over that. Like look at what Sony's done with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like how much freedom they gave him to do that. So
that's true,
he's on a good deal though. But Kevin McCarthy's also on a good deal when he says that Samuel L. Jackson's wallet from the film is sitting in my back pocket right now. Enough said.
Hey,
man.
I must say, like I would definitely buy that myself, like 100%.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Hey, Alexis D gave it 4 stars and said, "This was a really good movie. I like the director and his other movies. Good actors. Good movie."
Good, Alexis. That's great.
good, Alexis. Yes.
Good. Jack S says an excellent Spielberg film.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I would have loved to see Spielberg direct this. I reckon it would have been funny. Anonymous says 3 stars. Says not as good as I heard about it. Do you reckon this movie's overhyped?
No.
I think it is. I think it's not as like it is groundbreaking, but I don't think it like when you watch it, it's like this is a masterpiece of 20th century filmmaking. Like,
well, it kind of is.
I mean, it is. Well, I don't know. I still think it is tedious and it could be tighter. So like, in fact, even editing might save this film. Honestly, just cutting out some stuff, I think could make it that masterpiece. There's like 20 minutes I reckon you could snip out, and it would be molto bene.
Kid Jess says, so that's where the Travolta meme comes from. But then Sweet responds with, it pisses me off the fact that you knew the meme before the movie.
I love YouTube comments. But it's true, because like younger people, well, younger than you and me, Brendan, will like would have seen that meme on social media, and they finally watch Pulp Fiction like, oh, it's a meme. Like, it is kind of sad, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. But, you know, for us, it's great getting to have the memes and know the context as well.
Oh, it's excellent. Mwah. And lastly, Christian Ronaldo, or Regaldo. Maybe Ronaldo wanted to write some... Yeah, maybe Ronaldo was like, nah, fuck it, I'm going to take a break from soccer and write some comments. They wrote, hey, I got a game for all of you. Take a shot every time they swear in this movie.
Well, I don't think it's possible because you'd probably be dead.
You'd
like,
be
let's
very
be honest.
dead.
Like,
You'd be having shots like bullet shots. Do you reckon this film would be as good without the swearing? Does it need it?
doesn't need it. Probably no. Well, not necessarily. But
No.
not necessarily. But I think like that's the character's vocabulary.
I also think it's the vernacular of the location because they all kind of come from this like underbelly version of Los Angeles, don't they?
Totally. Like that's the lifestyle. That's what it is. Yeah.
Just the vibe of the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, the vibe. For all of you out there, that was a little Castle reference.
Yeah, Brenton's favourite movie.
Oh, fuck off. Anyway, man, that was Pulp Fiction. That was Pulp Fiction, a film that I liked. A film that I liked way more than I did The Bloody Castle. Let me tell you that much.
Oh.
Guys, what a blast that was to talk about, Nathan. I'm really glad we had a chat about Pulp Fiction.
I'm excited. You know? I'm excited to celebrate Tarantino with you, Brenton, and because especially now, not now. We have to wait a couple of weeks, but we can finally see Hollywood. Like,
yeah, finally. I'm really excited for it, man.
Movie. Yeah,
yeah, I'm so excited to see it. But in the meantime, until we see Hollywood, you can catch up with us on Twitter. You can catch up with us by email.
Write a lovely email. We bloody love having messages from you guys.
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on the podcast app. You can find us on SoundCloud as well. Yeah, and you can even attempt to find us in Sydney. Good luck, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, good luck. But yeah, that is classic movie banter. That's what we do all day,
this is our job.
every day. You know
what a good
I mean?
time, man. You know what? I had such low expectations for Pulp Fiction because I really remember disliking it as a teenager. So I'm bloody glad I came around to it. You know?
So am I. So am I. I'm glad you did as well. Yeah.
And also in it's so good after going from James Bond going to a film with character and vitality and life. I feel rejuvenated.
So do I. Well, Nathan, on that note, let's grab our little pistols, let's tuck them into our boxer shorts, and let's leave this diner.
Did you say diner? Say diner again. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say diner again.
Diner.
You piece of...